Welcome to the Momnesia Podcast, a podcast for moms where we share the stories we want to remember and the ones we wish we could forget. We're your hosts, Julie Short and Sarah McLaughlin.
Julie.
Hey, Sarah.
How are ya?
I'm doing all right. You staying nice and warm? All this Arctic cold?
Barely.
I know. It's crazy, girl.
Does this make you just totally miss Arizona living?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, it does.
So for those of you not in this part of the country, the high tomorrow is a -4.
With a wind chill of like -8,000.
Right.
It's going to be insane.
It's rough. Was your
is.
school canceled already for tomorrow?
Yep, it is.
Okay. Yeah.
And
ours too.
Ball State, where I work, it's closed until 11 a.m. on Thursday.
Oh, on Thursday.
Yeah, they never do that.
I mean, that's crazy.
It is.
A college.
Higher ed never closes.
When I was in college, I had to walk uphill both ways without shoes in this kind of weather.
You know what I did remember from college walking across campus is when your nose hairs would freeze.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was so
cold. Yeah.
But that is insane.
I remember talking about this with my sister, who is 8 years younger than me. And we were telling a story about like walking across campus to see the note on the door that
class had been canceled.
And she looked at me dumbfounded and was like, well, why didn't they just, email you or text you or... And I'm
Girl,
like,
we didn't even have email back then, okay?
On the UNIVAC in the basement. It's just like 8 years was a big difference.
Yeah.
I remember when I moved into Morrison Hall, my freshman year, there was one computer in the basement.
Yeah.
And it was the DOS screen with the email and you had to put the floppy disk in to use it.
We found out about stuff on campus from Joe Royer of the physical plant on the phone.
That's right.
Thank you, Joe. Thank
you, Joe. Shout out. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
no,
my gosh.
things have definitely changed.
Yeah, they have.
In that time frame.
And speaking of change, it makes it that much easier to find out when we're wrong on information.
Yes. We do have a little fact checking that we need to do. If you listen to our most recent episode, 8, I screwed up.
Yeah, ironically.
Yeah, I actually did screw up. I have some good news. George W. Bush is still alive and well.
Yes.
Unfortunately, his father has passed away.
Okay, yeah.
So sorry about that.
Right. If you were under a rock and didn't know and assume the correct context.
Now
there
you know.
It is.
Now you know.
Yes.
Sorry about that, Dub. Okay. And then the other thing you guys really should recognize is that when we first recorded that last episode and we were talking about Marie Kondo, that was before everyone was talking about Marie Kondo.
Right.
So I just want to take a moment. We kind of talked about it as if maybe no one had seen this.
Right.
We did not
explaining.
Yeah. We did not realize what a phenomenon this was going to be. Guys, we are trendsetters here at Momnesia.
Right. We are not momsplainers. We are trendsetters.
We have faith that you know what we're talking about now. So
yes.
Forgive us for recording so far in advance.
Right.
Which this is our last episode.
I know.
Can you believe it?
I can't believe it, actually, especially because I was thinking today at the beginning, it seemed like the learning curve was pretty steep. I mean,
yes,
it's one thing to talk on a topic and find great people to interview. But once you're figuring out, at least for me, equipment and compression and you're figuring out uploading to sites, it's just like it was some other languages. And now I kind of find a groove with that part. I feel like, I guess I don't know. It does. At the beginning, I was like, I don't know what we have bitten off. Like, I don't know if I can sustain this more than a season. And now I'm like, we've
got to do it more than a season.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yes. And just to clarify, when I said this is our last episode, last episode of the season.
Right.
Yes, we do plan on coming back.
The inaugural season.
Yes. But we've got lots of other good stuff happening between now and then. And I'd love to hear from you, Sarah. What's going on? Let's catch up. What's happening in your world right now?
Well, I had this awesome meeting today. I'm really excited. Another college campus, Butler, who my husband went to Butler for his grad degree.
Go Bulldogs.
Butler. So I am really honored, and it's a cool thing. They have this new program with communication and media, and they have great resources, lots of students who are wanting to do an album with a Indiana artist. But they are getting the program off the ground. So they got in touch with a good friend of mine, Stephen Potasic, who's a producer, and they kind of wanted to shadow an artist and be involved in the social media, be involved in the video, be involved in the tracking at the studio on the campus, which is like state of the art. And so I'm going to do this partnership with them.
So cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So we had the first meeting today, got the dates from the students, got their vision, matched it up with, musically what I was thinking. And it just is one of those things that feels like a win-win-win. The campus wants something to promote what they're able to do with their equipment and program, which is huge for me to be a part of that. And obviously, having done 5 other albums and having a producer like Steven, I feel like we can be part of mentoring in this process. And I hope it's a win for them. So that's going to take up a handful of the next weeks for me, writing and arranging and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it.
And you will be awesome at that mentoring. Like I know you did some of that when you were at AU and doing the chapel services and like mentoring young artists. I can totally see you doing that.
Thanks.
You'll be great at that.
Yeah, I'm excited. So,
and I can't wait to hear the album.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
It's going to be different because it is some cover songs. It's like songs for my children, basically. It's not it's not like Raffi is happening here, but it is like love songs for the people dear to me. So,
so kind of like lullabies?
Kind of like lullabies.
Ooh, I love lullabies.
Like Wonderful World is one of the songs, like songs about not necessarily just romantic love, but love. And, so it'll be
love is love.
So yeah, that's what's up. So what's going on with the toothpaste biz? Tell me about that.
Oh, girl, I love brightening smiles wherever I go.
Yes, you do.
Outside of my podcast and working at Ball State, I also help coach women on how to sell a product on social media.
Okay.
And the product that I sell is whitening toothpaste.
Sure.
So it helps brighten people's smiles. I love it. It's a lot cheaper than some other whitening alternatives. And so if people have sensitive teeth or they don't want to spend as much money on trays or strips or whitening at the dentist, this is a great alternative.
Yeah, it's so easy to use. I love that.
Yes. And while that is great, I do love the toothpaste. I also really love helping to coach and mentor other women on how to start a business on social media. And some people just need a little bit of coaching on that. And so that's what I do. And I absolutely love it.
We should say, so that people can follow along with these different things, people have asked us about, tell us more about what you guys are doing. Our handles.
Yeah.
What's your information so they can follow along?
You can find me at Julie K. Short on both Facebook and Instagram. Okay. And I'm not that active on Twitter, but
I'm not either.
I think there I'm J. Sebastian Short.
And I am Sarah Scarborough McLaughlin on Facebook, or Sarah Scarborough Music.
Okay.
You're going to have to find that spelling on our Momnesia page.
Oh my goodness. It's hard. I have to look it up every time I type it out.
And I'm Sarah Tunes on Instagram. That's a lot easier.
That is a lot easier.
Sarah with an H, Tunes.
There you go.
Find me.
Follow us.
So back real quick to the multiple streams of income and how great that is and that you can coach that. I listened to that podcast you told me about, Mind Your Business.
Oh, yeah.
It was the money episode.
Yes. James Wedmore, I believe.
Yes.
Is his name.
Yeah.
Okay.
I took a lot of insight from that. For those of you that haven't heard it, he kind of has you hone in on one thing that resonates with you that's a money myth. And for me, I think that idea of it's hard to make money because I know that other people have less, or I feel guilty about trying to make financial goals because I'm aware of depravity elsewhere. I sat with that one, and you'd have to go back and listen. Yeah, but it really kind of helped to put some freedom in that space. Although he's very strategic and it's money oriented, there are a lot of like feeling type words. He talks about, purpose and worthiness and all these things that you have to answer some of these questions. And the whole thing resonated with me, and it allowed me to, I guess, look at it in a practical way and kind of detach it from other insecurities and things that hold me back. And, it was really good. And it's helping me to kind of hone in on what I want this year to look like from a work perspective, financial goals, and how it should all be, purpose driven and make sense. And that's a good thing. Like even putting numbers to it, all of that's a good thing. And that kind of takes me into the other thing that I want to talk about. And it's a big thing we can kind of let the cat out of the bag on, I think.
Yes.
About something we're dreaming about.
Yes. We are starting to dream about what season 2 will look like. And you guys have been so supportive and so awesome.
Amazing.
Yes. She's giving you a round of applause.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot thank you enough for that. So as we are looking to the future, we definitely want to keep our audience in mind and like what would be beneficial to you all. So yes, we're planning season 2. We're lining up guests.
We have some good ones already.
We have some great ones.
But
yeah, we're not going to tell you that yet. We do have some things that would be super helpful for us. First of all, we would love for you to leave us a review on iTunes. That is the main way that new people are going to find us. Those reviews are where the money is at. And I don't mean money, but I mean...
You mean like hipster slang is money.
I'm so hip. No, but that's where it counts is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
We are getting no money for this yet, just to be clear.
Right.
And so we want to thank everybody who has already done a review. This one totally hit home for us. Such a gift. This is from OKB7. We don't know. Ukib7. I don't know. We don't know who you are, but we love you. This is what this individual wrote. Okay, where has this podcast been all of my life? Well, my mom life at least. Thank you for being real, authentic, and letting us know that being a mom is a gift. A messy, beautiful gift filled with highs and lows. Being a single mom who works full time, you had me at the first pod. This is relevant and so needed, so thank you. We are stronger together, mamas.
I love that.
I know, it just makes my heart want to burst. That is exactly what we were hoping for with this podcast. We wanted to create a space where moms could find community and you could see the other side of what's on the other side of Facebook or Instagram, that we don't all have these manicured lives, that there is real messiness that goes on behind the scenes, but there's also humor and there's also these funny things that go on.
All of it.
So we just want to create a space so that people know that they are not alone. You are not alone. So help us find those other moms out there that are listening to podcasts that need to find a community where they know that they're not alone. If you could leave us a review, we would be ever so grateful. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah. And while we are, mainly talking moms, there are a lot of dads that left reviews on there, which is so cool.
Thanks, papas.
Yeah. Thanks, papas. And we have the blog that's going to keep going. We have a lot of people lined up that are going to be blogging on this little pause between seasons. And there's a spot on our website where you can raise your hand and say, I would love to be a part of that, or I have a story I want to share, and you can reach out to us and let us know that you want to be a guest blogger.
Exactly. It says, go to momnesiapodcast.com and it says share your story. So just click that button and submit. It will come to us and let us know that you're interested in being featured on the blog. So if you haven't read the blog yet, we encourage you to do so. It's moms that are sharing similar stories as they are on the pod. If you have some writing skills or a story you want to share, we would love to hear from you.
And I don't think we let the whole cat out of the bag. I feel like maybe the head popped out. So let's get to the whole tale.
It's crowning right now.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Hey, it's a mom podcast, right? We can talk about crowning.
Right.
Okay.
I think Momnesia's going on tour.
Yes.
Can we talk about that? Yeah. Ooh. This is our big dream. I'm big into mind mapping. Like, that's how I kind of flesh out a idea. And I'm like, do you know what I'm talking about? Mind mapping? Yep. Okay. I said something to this effect the other day to someone and they're like, what? What? I don't know what you're talking about. So,
hey girl, I'm following you.
Okay. Like we're thinking we're going to pick a handful of places. We're going to set up shop and panel and have music and have a place and a time and a sacred, safe space where we share stories.
Yes.
More on that to come, but it's in the works, people.
Yes. And we're also thinking about, and once again, we want you to be involved in this. If this is not something that our crowd is up for, then fine, we'll scratch it. But if we're thinking about doing some community meetups as well. Amy Coleman, one of our listeners, made this suggestion on the Facebook page, and we absolutely loved it. I know she's a part of an indie moms group that meet up quite often. So I'm sure because of her experience, she thought that this would be a great thing for Momnesia as well. And we love the idea. So we're thinking about doing some fun meetup types of things for other Momnesia listeners. Obviously, since we're in Indiana right now, it will probably start off in central Indiana, but soon we would hope that we could carry those.
Fiji.
Yeah.
Scottsdale.
We've got one lined up for Fiji.
Cape Cod.
Exactly. All the places where
London.
Great moms are. No, we would love to do it all over the place, but we'll figure that out as we keep drinking.
What do you think we should do first? Bungee jumping or something kind of low key?
You know what we should do? We should do that aerial fit-to-fly. That's kind of like bungee jumping.
Nothing like a first meetup in spandex.
Yeah. Just let it all hang out. Get to know each other on a real personal level.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. That's a little bit about what we've been dreaming about. We want you guys to be a part of it. And please keep us in mind over this. We're calling it a pause while we take a breather, strategize for season 2, and get ready to hit the ground running again.
Yeah. And speaking of cool places to go, our next guest is from Florida.
Yeah, West Palm Beach. If you could see me right now, I'm throwing my West Side sign.
In your Pacers shirt from 1982. You are the picture of cool.
I am so cool. I've said that like 5 times already on this podcast.
We get it.
I know. Okay. Yes. Renee is probably, laughing at us all right now as she's in sunny, warm Florida and we're freezing our rear ends off up here. But
took us.
Yes, she is. You know what? I was going to say that, but I thought people wouldn't know what that means.
Girl.
People know what took us is? I thought that was like a Sebastian thing that we would say.
Isn't it like a Yiddish word?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm the only one that I've ever heard say it, but
wow.
Apparently we are bonded.
There's 2 weirdos here.
Yep. So Sarah, I am so excited to have our friend Renee Travis on the podcast today. I'm not sure if you know this about me and Renee, but we have a common bond.
Okay. I don't think I do.
Yeah. We were both on bed rest together at the exact same time.
In the same bed or?
That would have been lovely because bed rest is boring. But no, we were in different hospitals in different parts of the country. I was in Indiana at the St. Vincent Women's Care and she was down in Florida. But we kept in contact over social media during that time. And our kids were born pretty close. Okay. I believe Renee's son, Austin, was born before Matthew, but we were able to commiserate with each other and send pictures back and forth with our beautiful hospital gowns. So it was a trying time. Bed rest is really hard. And, when Matthew was born, he spent a little bit of time in the NICU but not too long. And when we got home after that, things went really well. However, Renee, her problems didn't end at bed rest.
Okay.
And she has had quite the journey with her son. She wrote about it in a book that is absolutely amazing. It's called Autism's Dirty Little Secret. And I'm definitely going to ask her about it today. But she talks about how they were able to detect early that her son had autism at 10 months old.
Oh, wow.
And so many doctors and people that she was talking to at that time said, it's too early to diagnose. It's too early. It's too early. And if you know Renee, she's a fighter and she was not going to take no for an answer. She knew that something was off.
Okay.
And she was going to do whatever it took for her son to get the help that he needed.
Wow.
So I'm excited to hear about her journey. I know it is going to be really helpful, and I know it's going to touch a lot of people's lives today. So let's get Renee and bring her on.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, girl.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for asking me to be on. I'm excited.
Well,
this is my virgin podcast experience.
Oh, you always remember your first, girl.
Yep.
You always remember your first, and we will be the first.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. I give you a little intro and a plug for the book, so I want to make sure you tell people more about that as well. But give us your mom stats. Tell us your kind of professional bio as well as your mom stats.
Mom stats, one and done. He is 6, and I think you're right. He was born in June. Matthew was July, wasn't he?
Matthew's due date was July, but he was born in June as well.
Okay, never mind. So before Austin was born, I was a marketing executive at a bank in the Keys. And I have my pre-Austin life and my post-Austin life, which I think is pretty normal for a mom anyway. But since then, I have had my own business and then recently wrote a book to start a consulting business for early intervention in autism.
Okay.
A wife, amateur singer. What else do you want here?
Wait.
You are not an amateur singer.
Now I have to bring this up. I have to just say that when I met Renee, it was because I heard her angelic singing voice. Like I couldn't even believe what I was hearing. And I was kind of obsessed. So it's actually an insult on my ears that you're calling yourself an amateur singer.
We are not letting you go.
Isn't that funny how people think of you? Because I look at you and I'm like, oh, look at all the things she does. I'm stuck with just my voice and she can do all these super fun things.
Oh my goodness. Well, just know that you are on a pedestal. I love your voice. Okay. So
you started. Tell us before we dive into the story, or you tell us. We want to hear a little bit more about the book. So tell us a little bit about the book, or will that come up as you're telling your story?
I think it'll come up as I tell my story.
Okay. Well, then let's just dive right in.
We got pregnant with Austin after 5 fertility treatments because we're super fun, lucky people, and had an extended, horrible pregnancy. And so once he arrived, I really had every expectation that things were going to be absolutely perfect if we could just get to the birth.
Just get through that pregnancy.
But as, but Austin really was such a buildup of emotions, of expectancy, of answered prayer, of heartache. So he was born, and on the second day, they told us he had cysts on his brain. So we had a good 24 hours of he's here. It's so amazing. And then everything just from there. And that turned out to be nothing.
Okay.
But we had something like that for most of while I was pregnant and obviously once he was born. So he was a beautiful baby, is a beautiful child. But as a baby, I remember looking at him when he was 8 weeks old, and I'm looking at him and I'm trying to get his attention, and I'm thinking something's not right. He's not connecting. He didn't want my attention. And from that day forward, I had it in the back of my mind, and every week that went by, it just kind of snowballed. So by the time he was 9 months old, I was absolutely convinced.
So you had it in the back of your mind that he couldn't connect
at 8 weeks,
or you had it in the back of your mind
that he had autism.
Yeah.
I am also that wicked discerning person. So I almost didn't name him Austin because it almost spelled autism.
Oh, wow.
And I was reading autism books while I was pregnant, and just kind of, I feel like in a way the Lord prepared me for what was to come, just in my heart, so I was loaded and ready to go. Yeah. So by the time 9 months came, now I look at 9-month-old babies now and I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder people think I was flipping crazy. Like, I look at a 9-month-old baby, I'm like, just give it some time.
Right.
But Austin, at 9 months old, I was absolutely convinced. And he was the baby that he didn't want to be held. He didn't want to be comforted. He didn't want to be snuggled. He didn't want to be hugged. He didn't want anything like that. So if we came into a room, he would crawl out. Like, he didn't want your attention.
Okay.
He definitely just didn't need it, which was heartbreaking for me.
Right.
And so there was a night when
you just want to snuggle that baby all the time.
Well, and actually as a mom, even though it's like, there are just hard things, especially about the first year, but cuddling and snuggling, that's actually something that gives back to you.
Right.
When you're pouring everything out.
Yes.
And when you're not getting it back, I was just an empty vessel continuing to pour out, and I had nothing coming back at me, which was
coupled with the worry. I mean,
right. Yeah. So at 9 months old, in the middle of the night, I decided I wanted to snuggle him so much, and I just wanted to rock him while he was sleeping, and I knew he wouldn't let me rock him to sleep. So I creeped downstairs like 2 a.m. Okay. And I get him out of his crib, and I sat down to rock him and snuggle him while he was sleeping. Cause I thought of course he's just going to let me do it while he's sleeping. And the kid woke up immediately and started bawling until I would put him down, and then he was fine.
Oh, wow.
And I just lost it. Cause in my heart, I already knew, and I just wanted my kid to want me, and I just wanted to bond with him a way a mom would normally bond. And it's like it's the defining moment of autism for me, but also the defining moment of something I just wish I couldn't remember, because it was just so heartbreaking.
Right. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. So yeah. What else did I say about that?
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah.
So because that was our experience, we would drop him off at a nursery, and he just couldn't care less. I was dying to be that mom who my kid would not let go of my leg.
Sure.
Because that's how he was. How he is now is what I want to remember. So he's in kindergarten. He's the cutest kindergarten ever. And every other kid in his class is too cool to have his mom walk him in. But he wants me to walk him in every sinking day. And because we go to a private school, I get to do that. And I walk him into class every day. And he insists on giving me this big, wet kiss on my cheek. And if I try and leave, he's like, Mama, I need to give you a kiss. Mama, can I give you 2 kisses? And I literally just close my eyes and I just sit. And I am grateful and it's just a picture of redemption and restoration and kindness. He's the kid who now doesn't want to be away from us. So if I'm in the kitchen, he has to be with us with his trucks. It is polar opposite of what our experience was. And for that, I never want to forget it, and I get to experience it every day until he decides he's too cool, which I hope is not anytime soon. Yeah. But it's embedded in my memory that it's just so beautiful. It's just a beautiful picture of redemption for me.
Yeah. Tell me about his school experience. What kind of school and what does that look like for him?
Now?
Yeah.
He is in a normal Christian school without any help or therapy. And no one knows anything that autism was a part of his story. I tell
oh my goodness,
any teacher he goes into, but they just, he was in a preschool. Well, we did a preschool program, but last year at a different school. And I'm always very honest with the teachers going in, because I want to know, ahead of time if we're going to come up against anything. And we spent all last year, and she's just like, I just can't tell. I don't know what you're talking about. So, I mean, he is a walking, talking, literal miracle. And I know that going forward, I don't know what, we'll come up against, but right now he's as typical and normal as you could possibly be.
Okay, so get us to how this miraculous thing has happened, because I'm sure there are lots of moms right now listening to this story who may be going through similar things, and they're like,
yeah,
wait, what?
Right. There's a big gap between the 10 months.
I know it was.
And now.
Yeah. So we had him, so he was considered mild to severe. He was the kid, he would just sit at the threshold of a door and scratch it until his nails bled, or he would crawl out, or he'd crawl with his head down. He was not just mild. And I was able to get him diagnosed at 10 months old which was a battle. Like, I can't even tell you. And we sold our house from the Keys. We moved to a place where there were therapists and a therapy school. And we did at least 27 hours of therapy a week for 3 years.
27 hours of therapy. I mean, that's a part-time job right there.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Actually, it's not the therapy that's a part-time job. It's the insurance claims that are a part-time job.
Man.
Yes.
So yeah,
beautiful.
The 27 hours of the therapy there, the insurance claims, and then probably all the things you needed to work on when you weren't actually
right. We had home therapy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So can you give us like a timeline from about the 10-month diagnosis to where he is now? Like, how you saw that morphing and what happened in those years loosely?
I first felt like something was wrong when he was 8 weeks old. I just noticed when I was trying to, babies kind of try and connect with you with their eyes, and though they can't talk, they use sounds and babbles. And Austin, you just had to work really hard to get his attention. It just wasn't there. And I would say a couple things to people, and they just thought I was crazy. At one point, my husband said it sounded like I was trying to make him sound autistic, which was super fun.
Wow. Yeah.
So that is the thing about autism is the mom is usually the first to see it, and she's usually alone in it for a while. And it's a very, very isolating place to be because I'm kind of digressing right now, but the normal reaction for a friend or a family member is to say, oh, don't worry, it's fine, because they want you to feel better. They want to diffuse the situation, but
they
a parent who's asking, you do, but it does the opposite of that, because I was looking for someone to tell me I'm not crazy,
Right.
So the signs kept piling up. You can literally look straight in his eyes when he was a baby, and he would do everything he could to dodge your eyes. So we would throw him up in the air to get his attention, and then you could grab him, but it was a lot of work. So he was in there. Yeah. But it definitely wasn't typical. Right. So he had horrible reflux, horrible gastro problems, things like that, which are all soft signs, because a lot of people have that, not necessarily just autism. But my go-to sign that I tell people to watch out for is head lag. Do you guys know what head lag is?
No.
I know about
really?
it because I read your book, but
thank you. So at their 6 and 9 month old appointments, they pull up by their arms, and if their head lags back, it's a sign of a developmental delay.
Okay.
So with all your children, your pediatrician, if I'm sure, checked for head lag, and he was fine. And so
lag, okay.
Head lag. So it's the strength of their neck.
Yeah.
So 90% of kids who are later diagnosed with autism exhibit head lag.
Interesting.
It's a huge sign for autism.
Okay.
So Austin, I was at his doctor's appointment, 9 months old. I had a list of things that concerned me: eye contact, not cooing, not waving, whatever. I still have it on my phone to remind me what life was like. And I'm telling my doctor the concerns, and I see him. I didn't know what head leg was yet. I see him pull Austin up by his arms, and Austin's head drooped back. And I was like, is his head supposed to do that? And he's like, yeah, he just has a heavy head. And this is a mom who was literally begging for him to be like, yes, I see what you're talking about.
Right.
And he's doing the test specifically. Like they're taught to do that test for a reason. And for whatever reason, he just couldn't do it.
So that's obviously not the same doctor that you went to and got the diagnosis.
Yeah, right. I went to 1, 2, 4 doctors before I could get a diagnosis, I think. Yeah. Many therapists. And so Austin had many signs, which are considered soft signs because technically signs of autism in babies aren't necessarily published like that, but studies have absolutely shown they are there. But doctors and the standard of care just haven't really caught up yet. So I am not the person who says autism can be cured. I'm very hesitant to say anything like that. And I still say he has autism, but you just can't tell. And, but I will say that the earlier you catch it, the better.
Okay.
Because your brain is still developing. Until 2 years old, their brain is on fire. And so if you start getting therapy far before the 2-year-old mark, the brain pathways literally can reformat. They create new pathways. And that's really what we saw with Austin. Within 6 weeks of starting his therapy school, he was waving and clapping and pointing and answering to his name. And he was already a completely different child. So much so that when I took him back to the doctor who really did not want to diagnose him, to her credit, she did. But I pretty much literally bawled and begged her to.
I love how in the book you said, I think she basically gave me the diagnosis just so I would leave her.
To get me out of her office.
Get me out of her
yeah.
office.
I mean, she didn't say, I don't think he is. She just said it's too soon to tell and insurance will never pay for this. And I was basically like, screw you, let me try. So, so we went back to her 6 weeks after we had started therapy, and she looked at me and she's like, what else have you done? This is a completely different child. And I'm like, nothing. Thank you for giving him a diagnosis, because this is exactly what we need. We got him on a therapy program. We got him started. Like, it was a night and day difference within 6 weeks. But I do know that someone else could have done everything we did and had completely different results, because with autism, for some reason, 50% just don't respond.
Okay.
So I have that in the back of my head where I have some survivor's guilt, when I'm around our autism friends where their story turned out differently.
Right.
None of them got diagnosed at 10 months old though. So I'll say that, but, it is his therapy school. It's the youngest kid they've ever had by like 6 months.
Okay.
The youngest kid she had ever diagnosed. So, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Now, the reason that you wanted the diagnosis, just to be really clear for me, was because without it, you couldn't have had that therapy, right?
Right. So, without it, insurance would not help paying for the therapy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So out of pocket, which we did have to pay for a little while, was just that one therapy is about $4,500 a month.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Holy.
So,
and you were going to multiple types of therapy.
Yeah, we were doing speech therapy, occupational therapy, some odd music therapy that you would probably find interesting, Sarah.
Okay.
Mascotova, we did cranial sacral, we did ABA, we did a ton of things. I hit the ground running, and we just tried everything.
Yeah.
And you said that you really feel like, maybe that God had placed something on your heart even prior to him being born. You said you were reading about stuff. Why were you reading about it?
Yeah.
Is that not normal? Did neither of you read about it?
I did not. I mean, I feel like you sign up for the daily emails that tell you how big the baby is. It's a banana. It's a cantaloupe.
Right.
All that good stuff. Yeah. Or you read what to expect when you're expecting.
Right.
Or if someone gave me a reason, there's a marker for this, or there's maybe. But what you said, the Lord prepared you. How did that all come about?
I mean, I was just really scared. And I never really questioned that I wasn't like everyone else. But after he was diagnosed and after our experience, I kind of see it as I was preparing for what was to come without really knowing what was going on, what was to come. So I had a lot of information, but there wasn't any information out on what it looks like in a baby. So that was all new to me, but just what triggers might be. And I already knew what it looked like in older toddlers. I had them in my life. So I don't know. It was just this feeling.
Yeah.
So when I started to see soft signs that everyone else would have ignored because I was already scared, they were much bigger to me than they would have been to someone else.
You were already primed to kind of look for that.
I was primed.
Yep.
Yes.
There's a lot to be said for a mama's gut, though. What you're doing, be it financially, be it watching for things, making sure you get the therapy, being the advocate, writing the book is like, I just want to commend you and acknowledge that is an incredible thing. And what a gift you've given Austin and all of us that you're sharing it too.
Thank you.
It's a rare thing.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about that writing process and what made you want to write a book, because it's not a hardback. It is a download, a digital download, but even the digital download, I mean, maybe your book is the first digital download I've ever had, I guess. It's beautiful. I mean, like the layout, it's easy to read. It's clear and concise. That writing process is something that just scares me to death. And so what was it that said, Renee, you need to write all this down?
I blame it on friends. And I guess enough people said, please just write a book. I'm like, all right, so I'll write a book. But I love and have always loved writing. So for me, it wasn't even a labor of love. I love to write. I don't love to blog, but I love to write, which is funny. You'd think it wouldn't be the same. What'd you say?
I said, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't love to have to write, and I don't love to, but I love to write if it's something that I really want to write about. So, I don't know. I loved it and I did it very quickly. And then it took more time, so I guess that's not true. But I just went to Starbucks every day because I'm an extrovert and I cannot get anything done at home because it's too quiet. Yeah. So I'd go to Starbucks and I'd knock out some time. I'd pick Austin up from work or from school, and I did that for a couple of months while I was getting my website ready and, kind of just doing all those things. Techie stuff is not my skill set. So that probably took a lot longer than the book, honestly.
So tell us, I don't think I knew you had a website. I've only seen the book. What is the...
Yeah, that's where you download the book, autismadvocate.net.
Okay. Now, did you have someone that was helping to guide you to say, okay, these are the types of therapies we need to get going? Or was this just all your own research of saying, okay, I need to get this type of therapist and this type of therapist?
I had a friend here in West Palm whose child had been diagnosed with autism. So because of her, I knew what therapy center I should go to for ABA therapy. And because they knew her, they were willing to take Austin as a case study, basically, because they'd never taken anyone anywhere near as young as him. So I was very fortunate for that. But as far as figuring out the rest, no, I just kind of blazed a trail.
Wow. And what does ABA stand for?
Oh, sorry. Applied Behavioral Analysis. So it is one of the only therapies, but the best well-known therapy that is super effective for autism.
Okay.
And what does ABA therapy look like? If you're taking him 27 hours a week, what does that look like, especially in someone so young?
It's basically a reward system. So every goal that they had was dissected down to as minute as it could be. And if he sounds horrible, if he puts his thumb on the desk so many times in the way they're asking him to, he gets something that he wants. Okay. So slowly, like they taught him how to point by folding down his fingers and popping a balloon. Okay. Because the balloon interested him enough to learn the skill that would then teach him how to point. Because pointing is communication. So everything is dissected into really, really small bites that they slowly learn, and it becomes normal for them.
So they're basically kind of rewiring the brain.
Yes. Yeah.
To do these things that don't normally
come natural
to a child.
What would be developmentally given, everything for Austin had to be learned.
Okay.
Everything.
Now in kindergarten,
even crawling correctly. Sorry.
Oh, wow. No, sorry.
Yeah.
So you said in kindergarten now his teacher would never probably know. So the work that you have to do when he comes home and you're going to work on reading or whatever a normal assignment is for every kid in the class assigned.
Right. Yeah.
Do you feel like it's still, you have to come at some things from different angles, or is he just able to kind of ride the wave with everybody else right now in his learning?
Right now, he's riding the wave with everyone else. He doesn't have any special accommodations, no therapist, and as far as I go, I would be the worst therapist or teacher available to him. So So no, he's right now at this very moment, he is absolutely typical in, he got all 4s and 5s on his report card. So what's that, all A's and B's, whatever. So, as far as we know at this very second in time, he's absolutely perfect. The only thing I did do is he had a really late birthday and he's a boy and he has autism. And so I did delay his kindergarten start a year, which was the best thing ever. So, from that perspective, I felt like he was, if the only thing I see is maybe he's a little immature.
Okay.
Than perhaps other kids, but then I have his friends over and I'm not quite sure that's true. So, yeah.
Okay. So I have
that's
two big questions.
Yeah.
First question. Let's say I want to recommend your book to someone or it would fit someone else on a journey. What is is it for someone who has a child with autism? Is it for those of us that want to understand someone with a child? Like, what's the big takeaway or the big thing of the book you would want us to know or want someone to know?
It is for someone with a child who suspects something is wrong, but before too. Like, it is not for someone who is already diagnosed with a plan in place and years into the journey. It is for the mom with a child under 2 who thinks something's wrong and cannot get help, or thinks something's wrong and doesn't know what to do. Like, it is a step-by-step. This is what you need to do. This is what you tell the doctors. You go to a different doctor if they say no. Like, this is how you work insurance. It is a guidebook for moms like me who, especially the younger the child is, there's just no help. There's no one telling them what to do. And more than anything, it's not just no help. They are against you. Yeah. In getting an earlier diagnosis.
Okay. My second big question, and then I'll let you talk, Julie, if you want.
I do want to talk sometime, Sarah.
What we've talked about Austin in terms of his diagnosis and timeline and everything. What do you want us to know about Austin right now? Just something that's just so special about him, and what is he like right now?
I have raised Elf. Elf, the movie Elf. I have Elf. He is excited about absolutely everything. He's just the sweetest. I can't even put into words how amazing he is. And every morning we go to school and I pray, and I always, someday he's going to ask what I'm talking about, but I'm always like, and Lord, thank you for healing Austin, and what a miracle he is and how much we love him. And he's just a walking, talking miracle that I could not love more if I don't know. That whole love you talk about when you have a kid, I feel like certainly I must love him more than other parents love their children, because it's not possible.
Right.
You said he may ask about it later or know about it. So are you saying he doesn't remember what it was like?
No. I showed him, and that's part of what I talk about with parents is you want to do this now. You want to do it early. You want to do it when they don't have a memory of it. Mm-hmm. So when Austin was finishing up with therapy is when many children were starting. Okay. And it's what they remember about their life. And Austin remembers nothing. I showed him a video, which I felt horribly guilty about later, because it was a video of him in occupational therapy, bawling his eyes out with his headphones on, like really unhappy. And that was what therapy was like every day. Wow. We sat through it. He cried through the whole thing. And I thought he would think it would be funny. And so I showed it to him and he's like, Mommy, do I ever have to watch that again? Do I ever have to go there again? I'm like, buddy. I'm the worst mom ever. He doesn't remember. Okay. And so we have a lot of friends with autism. And so we've kind of talked about the school that he used to go to, but he hasn't put it together yet. But since I'm an autism advocate, I'm never going to hide it from him. It has to be a natural thing that and I remember saying to him probably 2 years ago, Austin, you know you have autism, right? And I think he's like, yeah, he didn't really, but he doesn't remember it now. So, right. But no, that's the beautiful thing about extremely early intervention is I remember it. I remember the horrifying thing that it was, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And that is an amazing blessing.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what your advocacy work looks like now. How are you helping? I mean, obviously the book is one resource, but what else is kind of going on in your world? How do you consult families? What do you do on a daily basis or monthly or however it works out in your life?
I feel like my goal, and there's nothing like autism that gets me fired up.
Okay.
My goal when I talk to parents, because I'm usually sent to parents who are thinking about going to school or who have problems or whatever it is. And my goal, and it sounds horrible, but is to impart to them a sense of urgency or really honestly panic. If they leave me feeling panicked, I'm good with it. Because if they don't feel that, they don't realize the consequences of waiting.
Okay.
Weeks, months, years. Like they're consequences, not just for their child, but for their entire family. And that is my main goal. When I talk to doctors, if I talk to families, like I want them to understand and to know that they need to get started like yesterday. And that means like with everything.
Okay.
So you are,
and I do that.
That starts the fire.
I am the fire blazer. Okay. Yes. It's funny. I remember some of your I don't remember exactly what it was, but as I think about autism, like there is the pre-Renee autism and the post-Renee autism, which also has Austin, but it gave me a permission to be who I was, but tried not to be my whole life, which is I grew up in the church. I'm supposed to be meek. I'm supposed to be submissive. I'm supposed to be, but meaning like but my real personality is a trailblazer. I am someone who doesn't take no for an answer. I am someone who will fight for injustice. I'm someone who will fight for the right cause. And with autism, it really gave me permission not to care what people think, including doctors and family and therapists. Like I loved him enough to let all that go.
Yeah.
So I lost a huge part of myself, but I found someone that I always was and just wouldn't give myself permission to be.
Yeah. It's like you were waiting on your turn to be you before, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
you decide that it's your turn now.
There's something that I care enough about to blaze trails and not care if it ruffles feathers,
And I know that you said that your book is for families that are early in the process. Mm-hmm. I would like to say it's also for people who want to learn. And I love supporting female entrepreneurs. Yeah. And so when Renee put her book there out in social media world, I'm like, yep, I'm buying it right now. And she's like, you don't have to buy this book. And I'm like, yes, I want to support you and I want to read it and I want to learn about it. And it was so helpful. And I think, one of our goals of this podcast is just to be a place where we can support one another. Mm-hmm. And who knows who I may encounter that may be going through this problem or situation or whatever we want to call it. And because of Renee's book, I am now prepared to be able to help. And I can also be that person that says, you're not crazy.
I see this.
Right.
You're not crazy.
Yeah.
Because that's what you desperately want in that situation.
Desperately want. Mm-hmm.
I like to think of you as the person pouring gas for the flame that Renee's going to throw on it.
I will. I will pour the gasoline.
You're gassy.
I'm very gassy. Awesome.
Man, Thank you for sharing from your heart and for all the work that you're doing and for taking people like me that don't know a lot and just kind of, being gracious to give me the For Dummies version for all the questions I'm asking. So we're really thankful you're a part of this tonight.
So Renee, before you leave, you got to jump on the mom seat. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
Okay. So just a reminder, this is supposed to be a quick thing and you only get one answer. So we're not going to delve into...
Not doing Sarah style.
We're not doing Sarah style. This is Julie style.
I'm more Sarah style.
Well, I'm kind of alone in the world. I need another 8 on here.
Not true.
Not true at all. Okay. So here we go. Here's the mom seat. Disposable or cloth?
Disposable.
Bottle or breast?
Both. Pump. Come on.
Pinterest mom or Amazon Prime mom?
Prime.
Jeans or yoga pants?
Jeans, actually.
What?
Top knot or ponytail?
Top knot.
Home birth or hospital?
Hospital. Come on.
Chore chart or managing chaos?
Managing chaos, actually.
Gender reveal or find out when it pops out?
Does anyone find out when it pops out?
I do.
Gender reveal. That's because you have 5. Right. I bet you didn't with your first one.
I didn't find out with my first.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Instagram or Facebook?
I want to be the cool card and say Instagram, but it's Facebook.
Homemade or store-bought?
Homemade.
Lullabies or sound machine?
Sound machine.
5 servings of veggies per day or month?
Per month.
President of the PTA or I'll send in some goldfish?
Goldfish, baby.
Bubble bath and a good book or girls' night out?
Girls' night out.
Weekly meal plan or McDonald's drive-thru?
Chick-fil-A drive-thru? Come on.
Homeschool or go to school?
Go to school.
In your home, are you Freebird or robed up?
Robed up.
Favorite parenting resource?
Google.
Favorite place to buy kids' clothes?
H&M.
Nice. And you have completed the mom seat. Good job.
Did I pass?
You passed.
You passed. Flying colors.
Well, thank you so much, Renee. We loved having you on the show. And like we said, everyone make sure to check out her website, autismadvocate.net.
Good job.
And go buy her book.
And we'll list it all on our pages.
Yep. Thanks, Renee.
Thank you.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.
Well, we hope you will come back on the Momnesia Podcast, where we're going to share more stories before Momnesia sets in and we forget it all. Have a great week.
Bye-bye. Today's episode of Momnesia was recorded at Grace Church in Noblesville, Indiana, with original music by Phil Larson. Make sure to check out Grace's podcast, Between Sundays, and Phil's music at Spotify or iTunes.